Time for another brew in the ROBOBREW. This is my amber ale. This is version 8 of my amber ale, and I've brewed probably 3 or 4 different versions with rye in it before it. So it's probably, you know, without the rye, about version 11 or 12. I'm just going to fill it up to the 18 litres. It's cold water again. I haven't had time to heat up my HLT, and we'll see what the level that is, because that's usually what I mash in with. Even though it's only the second brew on this ROBOBREW. On my original ROBOBREW, it was always about 18 litres, because I usually use about 5 kilo a grain for my beers, and it just works out good due to the dead space and things. So we'll have a look what level 18 litres goes to. I think I showed 17 last time. A feature I didn't talk about in the last video was the delay feature for heating. It's designed so you can fill it up with water the night before and set it to like 8 hours or however long you get to sleep for, and it will turn on automatically and start heating the water for you. A lot of people have thought it's a mash timer, and it doesn't work as a mash timer because it actually, while the timer's on operating, your elements don't work, they're off. So people are putting it on for the mash and going, hang on, the elements won't come on. And that is why, because it's a delay timer to start the heating cycle for your water, not a mash timer. It's the same. I used to use one of those plug-in ones for a PowerPoint for this HLT, so I could set it up and have it come on at 4 o'clock in the morning, so by 5:30, 6 o'clock, it was hot, ready for me to mash in when I woke up. Anyway, we'll fill this up to 18 litres, and I'll show you what level it comes to inside. And this is cold water, remember, too. Now I started at 47, I have to go down to 29. These are weighed litres, I've actually weighed these, so I know it's pretty accurate. That's about 29. So in here, without dropping my phone, that looks like about half a centimetre or a quarter inch under the 20. It's about the 18 litre mark. So I'll just plug it in now, it's got water in it. There we go, we're on. Water's sitting at 17, it was a warm day yesterday. Okay, I've got the element on, I'll just turn them off for now. Actually, turn them back on. This is the time, how you set your timer down here. It's set to 0 now, so it's automatically on. If you hold that down, the Celsius Fahrenheit button starts to flash, and you can set the delay timer for however you want it. That's minutes, it can go up to hours, a lot of hours, but you know, most people will only have 12 hours, 10 hours or something like that. I'll set this for 1 minute. There we go. Once it stops flashing, that means the timer started, so the elements are switched off. I'll set this to be my strike, which is going to be about 71 today. I think things are a bit warmer this week. For my strike, now if I can wrap it on. So yeah, it's not a mash timer, it's a delay feature timer to put the heaters on, the elements. There is a video, if you haven't seen it, how I cut up this insulation. Very basic, but if you want to watch it, that should be up by now. There we go, there's the 1 minute, and the elements are both switched on. So we're off and heating up. I'm going to turn the pump on too. I'll come back in half an hour and we'll mash in. Ignore that 71 degrees, I'm changing things up like I usually do on brew days, a bit on the fly. Now I remember the people wanted me to demonstrate step mashing. And I just want to, like protein rests and things like that, and I just want to make it clear that if you're using fully modified malts like I am, most of the time there's just no need, and you can actually do more damage than good if you don't do things correctly. And even if you do them correctly, it's just not needed unless you're using a lot of under modified malts. I don't know, some of the flaked mazes and the oats or whatever, you know, not. You need to study your grain is what I'm saying. Study your grain. Most modern malts these days don't need it, and you could do more damage You could actually make your beer thinner and destroy head retention, and do the opposite of what you're trying to do, because some people just read, oh, this is good, this is for what you do. You've really got to study the malt you're using, and most modern malts don't really need one. There is some benefits, other benefits, to go at certain temperatures. I should go into this in a bit more depth in other videos, but if you're going to take your pH, your mash pH, there's no point. It's much better to do it at a lower temperature, not at a mash temperature. Not cold, you want to heat it up a bit. But if you heat it up to your mash temperature and you wait your 5 or 10 minutes, take your sample, take your mash pH, it's out, then you've got to adjust it. It might take you another 10 minutes to make sure it's mixed up and adjusted into where you want it. Most of your mash is already done. So a good idea is to go in at a much lower temp, at one of your rests if you're going to do a rest, or, you know, you can do the study on that, do some reading. But do it at a lower temperature before you get to your mash temps. Let your grain sit there, let the pH even out, take a reading, cool your reading down, take your pH reading, do your adjustments. As soon as your pH is right where you want it, that's when you raise it up to your mash temp, because most of your mashes are done really, really quickly. You know, you're looking at 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it should be done. There's problems if it isn't. You know, maybe stir your mash more, or I mean, there's no problems waiting the 60 minutes like I always do, but things happen fast in mashes. The majority of it happens fast. So I've heated the water, instead of my 72 or whatever it was going to be for strike water for my mash, to 62. 62, so I get to about 57 for say a protein rest. We'll see how we go. I'll leave it there for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm not doing this really as a protein rest, but if you wanted to, you could, and then I'm just going to bump it up to my 66. And that's the plan, just to demonstrate how to do it. I just think it'll be faster without the mesh and the pump on full and a bit of a stir, rather than have the mesh on and the pump going a little bit slow. Most of the water would be going around or down through the middle of the grain bed, through the pipe, rather than through the grain bed to change the temperature of the mash. So I just want to speed that up, so I'm going to leave the mesh off. So I'm going to turn, now it's up to my 62, I'm going to turn it down to my 57. I'm going to turn off the big element. You could turn them off both. I'm just going to turn off the big element for now. Actually, no, I'm going to turn them both off, just in case I get a lot of gunk down there on the element. The pump's not going, and it might scorch your stuff to the bottom, which I don't want. There we go. I wanted to get it in faster this time. I mucked around too much last time. Lost a lot of heat yakking. But there we are, we're in. Just make sure we give it a good mix up, since I went a bit quicker. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now it's in. I'm going to turn just the little element back on. And I'm going to put the pump on. Might just back it off a little at the start. Just keep an eye on it. I don't want it to overflow at the moment. There's no screen. I don't want all that grain going down to down the pipe. But just having that pump on will help get things moving. And it is on, it's on full now. You can see that. Here we go. I think that's enough stirring. We'll see what it says we're at. $50, $57, $58. Oh, that's good. I said 57. 58's good. That's good. Now I can slow that pump down now, because we're just about to go over that pipe, which I don't want to do. I might even just switch the pump off for a second. Just for a second, just to let that water go down a little. Oh, we've gone down a bit now. I'll adjust the pump to a bit low. We're at about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'll just turn the pump on, back it right off, just to keep it moving. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. Back it off. Now it would be best to put the lid on. But you want to keep an eye on it. I'm going to leave this go for 10 minutes at this temp. You might do 15 or 20 if you're doing a full different rests and that. I'll leave that you to read up on that. There's lots of different types of rests and lots of different times. I'll just leave this here for demonstration, 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll hook in and get it up to mash temp. Just keep an eye. You don't want it. I mean, I can take that rubber off the pipe so it goes down there anyway, but you've still got a bit of grain going around at the moment that you probably don't want down there. Hard for you to see through there, but I can see through. This seemed to be running very slowly through the grain bed, so don't be scared. Like if you haven't put the top on, to go down the bottom and just give it a mix up. You do want it to be flowing through the grain bed, not just down the pipe. And sometimes I'm mashing I'm probably forcing stuff through the bottom of the meshing at the moment, but don't worry too much about that. See, that's better now. I should have stirred right down to the bottom, which I didn't before, but now we've got heaps more flow. I can tell by the way how much more room I've got here. It might be hard for you to tell, but I was a bit compacted down the bottom there for some reason today. I just didn't mix right down to the bottom, I think. That was the problem. That's much better. I was getting a little bit worried there. That's much better. So now I could probably raise that. Oh, that's going pretty fast anyway at the moment. See the powder I've stirred up though? That's okay, don't worry about it. That's what the grain bed's for. It'll filter it out by the end of the mash. That's much better though. I was wondering why it was sitting so high. It's just a bit thick down the bottom. So some people think you can buy machines like this and just put the grain in and let it go. But brewing doesn't work like that. You've got to keep an eye on it. It's your baby. Treat it like one. Okay, that's been, what's that, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, probably longer since I've been yakking on it before I showed you the timer. That's going to do for me for today, just for this demo. I'm going to ramp it up to 66 I want it at. I'm not sure about my insulation I've put on this week, whether I have to raise it up to 68 or 67 to keep it at 66, which happens, you know, I've explained that before. Or I might just work at 66 now. But let's go, we'll see how long it takes. Just for the people in the US, the 57 I was at was 134. And I'm going to bump her up to my 66, which is 150. Now I'm not going to turn on the big element because you can scorch stuff on the bottom of on the elements. I'm just going to keep the 500 watt on. The pump's still on. Oops, you can see I'm coming up to the top here, which I don't want to be. Just before I got a thick mash today. Let's get some of that through before I bump the pump up for the temperature change. Not flowing real well today. Well, the pump's going pretty fast though. There we go. I'm going to bump that pump right up to full for the temperature change, but I've got to keep an eye on it and I'm going to stir. This could take a while. We'll We'll see, eh? We're getting up the top. Might have to bump the pump back off again. Give it a stir. Come on, get through there. That's better. Getting some, it's going down a bit. That's much better. There you go. That's better. Bump it up a little. There's also no harm. Say I mashed, if I had known I wanted to do this, I might have mashed in with 17 litres. And there's no harm with whacking in, you know, a litre of very hot water, nearly boiling, and get that stirred in quick to help bump those temperatures up really quickly. Because if you're doing mash, because if you're doing mash stepping, you really want to try and get through the steps as quickly as you can. You don't want to leave it waiting around. Alright, now I'm going to turn that down a bit. Give it a stir, help it through again. Oops, the pump's still going a bit fast, isn't it? Oops, turned it off. Leave this in warts and all to show you what happens. It doesn't always, things don't always go smoothly, even if you've been brewing for a long time. Especially when you're experimenting like this. There we go. There we go. Only 59, don't know if you can see that. So we're going up. Pump's going quite fast. You can see it's draining alright at the moment because it's not racing up the pipe. As soon as I see it start sort of climbing a bit, I'll just break up that grain bed again. This is where heat sticks come in handy too. If you had a heat stick, you can whack a heat stick in there just to help it along. I could very well get a stuck mash this brew. I don't know why, because I haven't changed my mill, but it seems very thick down the bottom there. Now I'm incredibly impatient. It's been about 10 minutes and it's still just over 60. So I've got a litre of water I've just boiled in the jug, and I'm going to whack that in. I'll just take it off my sparge water. Give it a stir as you're doing it. I want to just cook those grains. That should help bump it up a bit. Hopefully not too much. It shouldn't. Should be right. That will help. Nearly at 61. But that reading will take a little while longer than that to come through the pump, because in the top it takes a little while to come through. But that helped. I'm going to tempt fate here and put on the big element. I really shouldn't be doing it, but the pump's going pretty fast. So I might get scorching and we might lose this whole batch. But it will help her along. $62, as I see, that hot water helped anyway. Maybe I don't even need to put, the hot water's finally getting through. 63 nearly, maybe I didn't need to put that bigger element on. A little while, we've got to give it a stir, we're getting full again. We do lose heat with this much stirring, but for some reason this grain is very thick today. Ugh. Going to end up with porridge. There we go now. 64.5, 65 degrees, 65. See, I'll turn that big element off now. $65.7. $66. Alright, cool. I'm going to turn that big element off. That did the trick. I think it was more the hot water I put in rather than turning that big element on, because that, what was that, 30 seconds or something? And I'm just going to turn this pump off for a sec. Going to get rid of this. Going to put the screen thing on. Now everyone complained, and I did mention it in text over the top of the video that I put this on backwards the other day. Look, it's just a steel thing. It doesn't matter. I don't even really see the point of it, to be honest. But we'll use it anyway. It makes it look good. Flows down there. But as for functionality, I don't know. I don't think it does much. Let's go. Put the pump back on. Yes, I still need to shorten this. Where's my scissors? I'll take a bit off. Back on. See, even the screen, I'm not 100% convinced it's needed. Look at all the stuff I've got over the top of it already. Let's just turn... I don't know if you can see it. And that didn't come out the pump. That was already there. But anyway, we're going to turn back off this pump again. I only sort of want a nice slow, I don't want to go in too fast. Especially with that grain, I don't want to compact the bed. Seems to be very thick today. I don't know how all that stuff got above the screen since I've only just put it in and the pump wasn't even on. But anyway, let's just leave this for an hour. I'll come back and check it in a minute, just to see how the temps are going, because I have insulate with my insulation. I've got it on 67 now, one higher than I wanted it. I'm just going to leave it for a while. We'll come back and see how the temps are going later.